ladies and gentlemen, Michael Cohen here with you on the Sports Talk Nation, and it is time to rant and rave about the latest news regarding the New York Jets. And, little did I think when Bill Belichick was introduced as the head coach of North Carolina that we would ever speak of Bill Belichick again and the Jets in the same sense. But here we are. What else would you expect? And this all coming off of the article from Diana Rossini at The Athletic. She broke the story this afternoon, and then it just exploded from there that Bill Belichick had reached out to the Jets about their head coach opening. A very small circle of people in the Jets building were made aware of his interest, though no meeting or formal conversation ever happened because of the UNC opportunity popping up. In other words, the Jets showed really no interest. Then, of course, we had more information coming out. Confirmation from the likes of Brian Costello and Connor Hughes at SNY and the New York Post, respectively. UStadium had a lot of great stuff. We'll get into their series of tweets in a moment. Brian Costello saying that it was Belichick himself, not just his representatives, but Belichick himself who reached out. Now, UStadium put something out there that was extremely informative and very interesting here. Reports of Bill Belichick reaching out to the Jets are accurate. Bill and his team reached out to multiple teams, even those without openings, to gauge interest. No team told him they were interested, ready to interview him at this point. They go on to say, we reported last week that Belichick and his camp reached out to multiple teams, and nothing came of it. Rossini was spot on. The Jets were one of them. Spoke with a Jets source regarding Belichick. They said that the team was focused on gathering info for the GM search alongside the 33rd team before they do anything with the head coach. Their timing just wasn't right. And Belichick always raved about Rodgers and Garrett Wilson, and he wanted to bring his own people in for the front office. Now, if you are the New York Jets, and in fact, before I get to the Jets, let me just say this. It feels like this is the kind of news dump that Belichick was looking for, doesn't it? Why is it that after just getting the UNC job, this story now has to come out? Obviously, the sources, maybe Belichick is a source, maybe someone within his camp is a source, I'm not sure, okay? But that's just me spitballing. But someone went to the reporters, whether it be Rossini and Costello and all the Jet beat writers, and confirmed these stories and confirmed what was going on here behind the scenes with Belichick calling the Jets. Why would Belichick allow this to come out after just taking the UNC job is my one big question. And second of all, it shows that this is a guy who was desperate to get back into the NFL. He got a shot across the bow last year when the Falcons rejected him. It was thought at the time last year that Belichick was going to go to Atlanta after getting dismissed by the Patriots. And Arthur Blank was pretty close to making that choice. But then the front office got involved. They talked him out of it. They went with Raheem Morris. There was a report even last year by the Boston Globe that Robert Kraft may have gotten involved. And if you want to say badmouth or mention that Belichick is a control freak, which he is, because as the GM, de facto GM, he was in control of a lot of things for the Patriots, from personnel to player procurement, everything, and of course coaching the football team. He was the franchise, if you will, in New England. And today in the NFL, that doesn't exist. Teams do a more collaborative effort. There's a hierarchy with the GM, with the personnel guys, with scouts, and then, of course, going all the way down to the head coach. It's a very different league than than what Belichick or a lot of the old school coaches are used to. Very few have full control or of any kind of autonomy within an organization nowadays. It just doesn't exist. I think only Sean Payton has that kind of autonomy. Even Andy Reid has a GM in front of him, in Kansas City, but I'm sure he has a say. But you get the point. It's very few and far between. So if you're Bill Belichick, you're probably looking for that NFL job. You got this college job, but do you really want that where you can go back to the NFL? And if UStadium is correct, then multiple teams said no, thank you. But why is it that the Jets get mentioned? Why is it that the Jets get mentioned and not someone else? We know Dallas has been rumored, and the Giants have been rumored. We know the Bears looking for a coach, and the Saints are looking for a coach. Why is it that the Jets have to get mentioned? And I just have to, and this is just me here, and I feel that in a way, Belichick knows what he's doing, or someone connected to him knows what they're doing, and his disdain for the franchise will say, hey, look, this is going to light up that fan base. This is going to light up everybody against Woody Johnson, because look at Belichick's history. He has always hated on the Jets. I mean, this goes back to the time in 2000 when he resigned, just a day after being the head coach of the team, named head coach of the team by retiring Bill Parcells. I resign as HC the NYJ. And then had that bizarre press conference the next day, back in 2000, resigning. And then 2 weeks later, becomes the head coach of the Patriots. And then a little over a year later, thanks to the Jets injuring Drew Bledsoe, has Tom Brady fall in his lap. And the rest of his history of the Patriots, as we all know, become a dynasty 2 times over, with 6 Super Bowl championships and 9 trips to the big game. So he just, and think about it, all the times the Jets have faced the Patriots, all the blowout losses, 45-3 in a Monday Night Football game when Rex Ryan was the coach here. The look on Belichick's face when he was laughing, kind of giggling and smiling to himself in a blowout, the Ghost game. Remember that a few years ago, the Ghost game with Sam Darnold, and the Patriots shut out the Jets, and Belichick standing there with a pleased, satisfied grin on his face as the Jets are messing up their timeout situation. So he is always kind of, stuck it to him. Always has. Running up the scoreboard at times. I think there was a game where he ran up the scoreboard, put up 50 points on the Jets at one point in a game. And not to mention his criticism of Woody Johnson after the Robert Saleh firing. Look, we all criticized Woody Johnson after that. In fact, let me pull up the direct quote that he had on the Manning Cast. Okay? That's the kind of what it's been like with the Jets. Barely won over 30% of the games in the past 10 years. The owner, being the owner, just ready, fire, and aim. Or aim, fire is what he meant to say. So he's taking shots at the Jets all the time. He's taking shots at Woody Johnson. So if you're the Jets, why would you want to take that call? I understand, hey, 6 Super Bowls. Trying to catch Don Shula for the wins list. I totally understand. I get that. But why would you do that when this guy has shown nothing but disdain for your franchise and had a chance to coach your franchise and said no? Makes no sense. So I don't feel bad for Belichick in that regard. And I don't blame the Jets for saying, we're good. And in fact, a lot of franchises are saying, according to these reports, we're good. And they're moving on. So I also think it's kind of plays into this with this division of fans, because I knew it. And I said this to a couple of friends of mine, just wait. Because you know that there's going to be a faction of the fan base that's going to go, oh my God, the Jets blew it. I can't believe it. And lo and behold, one of the local radio stations in here in New York, a couple of their hosts, I'm not going to mention names, you can find it out, I'm sure everyone's probably seen it already. Oh my God, the Jets blew it. They had an opportunity to get Bill Belichick. Who cares? This is what the Jets need to focus on. This is what and I got to give a lot of credit to a lot of the fans that I've seen on social media who are Jet fans who have been very understanding of the situation, whether it be Matt O'Leary or whether it be Jet Central. They've all pretty much said the same thing. There was no way Bill Belichick was ever going to coach the Jets. Let's just get that through our heads right here. There was not even a chance for that. This is a guy who's hated the Jets forever, and the focus of the Jets should be is this: find the right head coach. Find the right GM. Find the right people to put your organization in front. And this kind of leads me into what I have to say about what's going on with this Jets coaching search, which, by all accounts, is going to get started here very soon, especially with the 33rd team coming in with Mike Tannenbaum. They're looking for the GM. There's a process involved in this. And there are a number of candidates out there. To me, the top 2 candidates, in my mind, are Mike Vrabel and Aaron Glenn. Both reportedly have expressed interest or have shown interest, depending on the reports that you have seen. There was a report, I think, a couple weeks ago where Aaron Glenn was reportedly saying that the Jets are a dream job for him. Both of these are top candidates. Aaron Glenn, of course, the defensive coordinator with the Detroit Lions. They're 13-1 right now, or 12-1 right now. Mike Vrabel, of course, a 2-time coach of the year with the Tennessee Titans, has taken that team to an AFC championship game. There are coaches with good resumes out there. There are coaches who can connect with today's players very well in the NFL. So focus on that. Focus on a Mike Vrabel who can play a culture changer. Focus on a Aaron Glenn, even a Todd Monken, or someone of the ilk that can come in here and be that culture changer that the Jets need so desperately. Stop worrying about and I'm glad the Jets aren't doing this. Don't worry about this story about Bill Belichick and was he interested or not interested. Who cares? Chances are he was trying to find any form of interest. He was doing his research to see what was out there in the NFL to confirm to himself, at the very least, that yes, he needs to jump to the college game and seek that instead. Because again, the game has changed, and it's changed. It's not what it once was. Where, as I said, the head coach, depending on their level of success, could have a lot of say in a lot of matters. Now it's more of a collaborative effort. So it's an interesting story. Some people kind of dropped it as a non-story, but it's a very interesting story because it kind of kicks things off with more Jets drama, but also kicks things off with the coaching search. I will leave you with this, and this is this tweet from Gary Myers. Belichick hates the Jets. That's real. He also has no respect for Johnson. That's real. What changed? He needed a job. I'm sure Belichick is enthused about North Carolina and coaching in college for the first time, but having interest in the Jets shows how desperate Belichick was to get back into the NFL. That pretty much sums up exactly how I feel, and I think how a lot of people feel about this. Belichick was just looking and fishing for an opportunity elsewhere, in addition to eventually confirming that he wanted to go to North Carolina. So let's move on. The Jet fans, focus on your team getting the right guy for the job. I'm telling you now, the top two names out there, Aaron Glenn and Mike Vrabel, either one of them would be a very solid choice for the Jets moving forward. Just based on pedigree, based on the fact that you have, hey, look, two guys that are part of that Belichick-Parcells tree in a lot of ways. Vrabel, of course, is both of them as players. Vrabel with the Patriots, Aaron Glenn with the Jets, of course. I would rather go in that direction than worry about what happened in the past. And Bill Belichick is very much in the past. Like and subscribe. We'll talk to you next time.